Well, it's a good morning for those people in the UK, and of course here in Queensland, Australia, it's 7 o'clock. Thursday, dreaming the new dream, and of course my co-host sitting right above me, as they are in the Northern Hemisphere, is none other than my co-host Andrena, Forrest. So Andrena, would you like to introduce us to our interesting, informative guest that we've been talking to in the green room?
I would. Well, good morning, everybody, and welcome to Dreaming the New Dream, and wherever you are listening in the world. I'd just like to say today is the 30th of June, 2022. So if anybody's listening further along the track, they know what day we were recording on. And can you believe it's the last day of June today? Because I can't. Oh my gosh. Anyway, it's my pleasure to have the lovely Renee-Star Johnson, who's been a friend for quite a while. And I was a follower of her a long time ago when I used to watch her dancing. I think, wow, she's a lovely dancer. And then anyway, became friends, and she does so many different things. She's light language, Akashic Record keeper. Oh gosh, what else? Key codes. Oh, well, just so much more. So I would love you to share. Oh, and walk-in. Now, that's another thing. I don't know if anybody knows about walk-ins. We were having a little joke about this earlier. But I would love you to share, some of these different things that you do and how you came to start. So where were you born?
I was born in Ipswich in Suffolk, in East Anglia. Yeah.
Okay, so wherever you'd like to start of how your journey unfolded, because I know you've been on quite a journey, haven't you?
I have, yes. So really it all began in 2011 after leaving quite an abusive relationship. I experienced something called a broken heart syndrome, which is where the body goes into complete shock and the nervous system completely breaks down. So at this point, I was having a nervous breakdown, a spiritual awakening, and a walk-in all at the same time. So it was sort of my health deteriorated, and I ended up being bedridden for quite some time, not able to speak even at times, or even catch my breath to breathe because the heart rate was so high, and sort of spent quite a lot of time in hospital and at the doctors, and just really concerned about my health and well-being. And it wasn't till sort of maybe a year and a half later I actually realised what had happened, and it was a walk-in. So it was really integrating this huge new energy. The physical body just couldn't cope with it. So I'd agreed to this, obviously.
As you do.
Thanks for that, love. So really interestingly, even now, I would say that the physical body is still trying to, because obviously the energy is getting bigger and bigger now. Obviously, the more work that I do, the more connections I make. The energy is expanding and becoming quite huge. So the physical body is still having to go through, like many of us do anyway, on the spiritual ascension pathway, having to integrate these new codes and these new ways of being constantly. So it's it's been quite a tumultuous journey, shall we say. But the one thing that's really seen me through it is working in the Akashic Records. That has been my saving grace, really. That work has probably saved my life, and make no mistake about it. So it's been a real blessing, and it was something that just came about very randomly. After the walk-in, I'd be, I don't know, stood in the co-op or stood in Sainsbury's, getting my, buying my shopping, and all of a sudden I'd start to receive feedback from people's energy fields, about their past lives, or if they had a bad foot and why did they have a bad foot, and it would be related to past life, and I'd so wherever I was going, just receiving all of this information constantly, and seeing energy, seeing light, seeing atoms moving in the sky, so it was really quite a lot to take in. So what happened was, after that, I had to really master this, because I was thinking, I don't want to carry on the rest of my life walking down the street hearing and seeing everything that's going on in everyone's in everyone's bodies, and what's going on in their life and what's going on in their past life. So basically I asked for it to be tuned down and turned off a little bit, because it was just becoming too much. And obviously I'm very empathic, so because the heart is very expanded, obviously the fifth dimensional heart, when you start working with the higher heart as well, you can then engage on a much higher level, higher perspective of what is going on with that person. So it was really becoming, mastering my own energy in order to help others. So again, as we said before we came on here, I was going, why is this happening to me? But it wasn't, it was happening for me. It was actually part of the process. They needed me to go through that in order to then be able to help everyone on the ascension pathway now. So it's a gift. It's a real beautiful gift, which I'm really grateful for. Yeah.
So before, when you were poorly and then the walking happened, is that when your gifts?
Yeah.
You didn't have anything happening before.
It went from 0 to 100 within sort of overnight, I would say. And so that was that. It was that really did. It scared me, because I was thinking, what's going on with me? I don't understand. Why am I hearing energy? Why am I seeing energy? Why am I feeling everyone? And then, it's just a very odd. And I also had vertigo as well at that point, because obviously the fear had got so much that I was just like, oh my gosh, what is going on with me? I just don't. It was, when I think about what I went through that process, I don't know how I got through it. I really don't, because I couldn't talk to anyone about it, because they didn't understand me. They didn't get it. So
that's what I was going to ask you, really, because if you how did you cope with all of that if you didn't have anybody around you to talk? Because
I
like
had to go within, talk to the angels. The angels and my guides were like my ancestors, were my saving grace. My Akashic record keepers were my saving grace, because I was like, right, I need to start tapping into this, because the only way that I'm going to get through this is by strengthening my energy with source, with the masters, with the gatekeepers of my soul. That's where I need to be. And before you know it, I've got Anubis on one side, just like stood on guard, with his staff, like nothing is cut, because they can't step in unless you ask them. So then I started to call in God's army and things like that, because I was like, right, I'm growing very quickly and I need not protection, but I just need to be safeguarded whilst I grow, and allow my energy to sort of become everything that it needed to be, if that makes sense.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, right. So like you started the so you was your saving grace, if you like, and started you on the. So how did these other different things come into place? So if we backtrack, because I know you were saying that you started dancing at 7. So obviously you've always had that ability to have a natural rhythm. And did you put up one of your little videos of you dancing, or did you decide?
No, I haven't. No, but people can go on my Starlight Ascension page on Facebook, and there's a couple of little videos on there. The dancing started at the age of 7, and I used to go to competitions all over England and win trophies, and I was like a little whippet on that dance floor, and I used to love it, but obviously as you get older, you sort of grow out of these things and other interests, start happening, and so I gave it up. but my love of music and dance has always been there. You know, back in the day, I lived in Ibiza, and you know, and travel, you know, and went out there for holidays and things like that. And just have always had this really, really strong connection with music and different DJs and different kinds of house music, and just sort of know my backlog of house tracks on the back of my hands. So if you go on my YouTube channel, you'll find a playlist as well of all my favourite records.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah. So yeah, dance and music is really really important to my soul. It's a way of expressing energy. It's a way I clear my energy through dance, and I just you know it's something that I've always done. But my real dad, or my biological father, who's not alive anymore, he passed away when he was 26, but he was very musical and very creative. So I feel like that's where that's sort of comes from, that musical energy. So yeah.
Right. Okay. So what about being an Atlantean high priestess, and how did all that come about?
Wow, yeah, that's another thing altogether, really. That sort of started to kind of, just, I don't really know how that happened. It was just that I started to remember my time in Atlantis, and mainly the fall in the beginning. I remember just actually looking at pictures of Atlantis on the computer. I'd Googled it, and I started, as I was looking at the buildings under the water, under the ocean, started to receive energy feedback from that. And I remember having to go I just couldn't stop crying. The only way that I could actually stop was by having a bath. I think I was in the bath for about 3 hours trying to sort of calm, because the trauma was coming up to be cleared.
Wow. Yeah.
Again, that's where I went, was in the Akashic Records, to go back to that timeline and just start to clear it, because it was just so the energy of that was so intense. I remembered every little bit of the fall, of what I did, who I was with. So I know that there's people that I'm connected to now that were stood by my side at the fall of Atlantis, which was quite So
have you done any training for any of that, or has this all been your own inner training?
I would say more just remembering, and then obviously as you start to tap back into that energy, obviously we're all now moving online with our I want to call it a gold print, the Atlantean gold print. That's why all these beautiful souls are now stepping into their master selves, because they're anchoring in and activating all of their soul codes from Atlantis. All of that is now being switched back on, and so that's why we're becoming, I want to say, more magical.
And why not?
More magical, more in tune with the universe, but more just not really worrying about what anyone thinks anymore, and just going for it, just doing whatever we have to do in order to bring this gold print forth and share it with the planet, so that everyone can experience joy again. Because like we said before, there's so much fear that is being drummed into everyone, that we don't want to be engaging in that. What we want to do, like you said, is build the new dream. So what we're doing now is we're now laying the foundations for the golden earth.
Definitely. And I think I might have shared with you on the Zoom call the other night that I had a dream. Oh my God, it took me hours to ground myself. Excuse me, where it was like all of a sudden it was like, right, come on, calling in. And I called in soul tribe from all time past dimensions and what have you, that were needed now, and we got to come together now. I can't remember exactly what I was, but oh my God, it was so strong. Like, it was like I had my hands up in the air shaking. Come on, it was like, wake up, we can't waste any more time. We need to come together, to work together.
That's right.
Step up and help each person.
Absolutely.
Whatever way they need. But I tell you, I've not had a dream like that where it lasted for hours. I couldn't sort of come out of it, if you know what I mean. So,
Yes,
you know, our dreams are very powerful. So, do you get much in your dream state?
I do. Yes, I am usually, the way that they work with me is I do receive information, obviously, whilst I'm awake, but when I'm asleep, it will be literally if there's something that they really need me to know, and I have a lot of prophetic dreams, so I get given. It's like I would sort of call it oracle insight, where they give me a set of certain circumstances that might play out. So they sort of give me a heads up of what's going to happen before it does,
Right.
which is so good, so that I can prepare myself. And put whatever things I need to put in order before it actually happens. So yeah, they give me that information just before I wake up so that I remember it.
Yeah. And that's the key. One of the keys in it is remembering it, because I know I always got pen and paper by my bed to write down, and sometimes you can come out of a dream and it's so strong, but you just can't, well, for me anyway, you can't recall it, but you know you were really in it. But then I think if we knew all of our dreams, we'd be freaked out, you know, where we are and what we're doing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I often have Poseidon come through, god of water, which is he's often sort of, I've had a couple where he's sort of taken me underwater and shown me things in the ocean, which have been really important, sometimes Atlantis. So yeah, it's they will show us in whatever way our soul agrees to, and whatever way is easiest for our soul to see. So they will just deliver the message with such grace and such beauty that the soul is able to cope with it. So never be scared. You know, if you receive a message, they're not bad messages. When I say they're giving me a heads up of what's going to happen, mostly it's all good stuff, you know. So don't worry about that. You know, when you're tuned into a very high frequency, it's usually to do with gifts and keys and codes that you'll receive. So yeah, it's quite interesting, you know, once you start to receive that information. So yeah,
because it's like a bigger puzzle, isn't it? You know, we're all connecting, each with a different our different gifts, so we can connect with each other. And well, I mean, I've lost my train of thought now. I was looking at something. So we've all got different keys, different codes, and it's like, you know, you sort of go somewhere and that piece of puzzle slides in place, and then you go somewhere else and you meet other people, and then another bit sort of falls into place. Is you know, so in how it's all coming together more and more, and we're all much more aware, aren't we, of our abilities?
Yes.
Yeah. So I saw somebody flash up, asked if you do readings. So I know this show's not actually about doing readings here, but I know they can contact you on your website.
Yes, I offer one-to-one Akashic Records readings or ascension sessions, which is basically everything that I do. Whereas if you have an Akashic session, that is literally just working in the Akashic Records. So yeah.
So if somebody's said to you, I'm not quite sure what I need. Do I need an Akashic or ascension? Do you just tune into that person and
just sort of tune in and just recommend what I feel. So yeah, it might be someone who's sort of struggling with emotions and doesn't understand why they're feeling the way that they are, or they might have some situations that are happening in their life that they don't really understand, which can be related to past life. So then I would go in the Akashic Records probably for that one. If it's someone that's wanting to receive activations and know a bit more about their spiritual gifts and receive a bit of sound healing, then I would offer the Ascension session. But we do also go into the Halls of Amenti and the Akashic Records in that session as well. So, yeah.
And I know you did a free, I can't remember I think it was an Akashic Records one
Yeah,
the other day. Well,
yeah.
was it last week? But I think you had a good few hundred, didn't you,
I
actually?
couldn't believe it. I think it's about 700 or 800 plus now. People
And
have been asked.
people can still get the recording and
They
listen to it
can,
in the process, can't they?
yeah,
So,
they can, yeah. And that
and
was a
that just,
really powerful one. Yeah, that was very powerful. That was just to help as many people as I could, really, because I know that there's so many people struggling at the moment, and they're so desperately wanting to move into that fifth dimensional pathway, into that open, expanded space within their heart, but there's so much still blocking them. So you go into the book of life and you clear it out. And that was sort of what I was working with, was trying to help as many people as possible to clear these heavier programs and patterns that are on a loop, if that makes
yeah,
sense.
totally. I would take out the word trying. You are
Yeah.
big time, big time. So,
Oh,
and
thank
I
you.
know you've been doing some Zoom workshops in Australia as well, haven't you, for people?
I have, yeah. And
Which is
training people in Australia as well. So training people to work in the Akashic Records, which has just been really beautiful, because I received the message probably about a year ago that I kept getting the song by Simply Red, Say You'll Love Me All Around the World. And I was thinking, what on earth are you talking about? Well, no, I know. They were saying, we're going to take you all around the world. So it was, I knew, yeah, around about a year ago that I would be working with people in Australia. But I was thinking, I don't really know how that looks or how that's going to happen. And then all of a sudden, all these people started to come from Australia, and I'm thinking, what's going on? But it's really beautiful to work with, people all across the globe, which is what I've been doing just recently. But yeah, really, really lovely to work with all the beautiful Australians, and I want to say people from New Zealand as well. So yeah, it's been really, really nice. So yeah,
so
really.
you haven't travelled to those places yet.
When I was 2 years old, just after my dad passed away, my mum took me and my sister to New Zealand, and we lived in Wellington. So yeah, I have been over to that part of the world, yeah, but when I was very little.
Yeah, yeah, because I know I've been blessed to go to New Zealand, and I love New Zealand, and it is very, very similar to England on some levels.
Yeah,
But
I've heard that.
yeah, so
Yeah, I've heard that
yeah,
before.
yeah. So you're growing your network all around the world, which is awesome.
Yeah, it's a little bit scary, but I feel like,
Exciting. We mustn't use these
yeah,
scary
no.
anymore.
It was, I guess, scary as in, it's incredible how, I want to say, God source works, how the universe works, because it will take you to wherever you're needed in order to get the work done, in order to help as many people as possible. So yeah, I think it was just like, is this really happening? That this is sort of, that all these people are now, because obviously more and more people are waking up as well. More and more people are open to this avenue of work now, because they're understanding that everything is made up of energy. This is, everything is energy, every word, every thought, the dress that I'm wearing, everything is energy. So you start understanding the fundamental laws of the universe, and then you've cracked it, really, because you can then start working with, I want to say, sort of the mathematics, really, and understanding things at a much more quantum level. So yeah.
So what about the key codes? Yeah, can you tell us more about the key codes?
Yeah, so that is something that just started to flow through me. So I would often be given a key or a code, which would come through the form of light language, or actually a key that I would receive. So the Ankh, I don't know if you can see the Ankh there
Yeah.
behind me. So quite often in sessions, or in an ascension session, or in an Akashic session, or just, if I'm doing a video that I'm sharing, I might just receive the information that you've been given a key, and they're usually Atlantean keys that are being given in order to help people to wake up their gifts. So that's basically what I do. I'm a key giver. So I give these beautiful keys to help people unlock their full potential. And that's been happening for years. That's something that in the beginning, I was a bit like, oh, I don't know, people might think that's a bit strange, to start saying that that's what you're offering. But actually, when you actually take the key and you place it within your heart, you can then feel the whole energy field expand. So yeah, it's really lovely. Yeah.
Oh wow. What was I going to say? Following on from the keys, crystal skulls. Because crystal skulls are okay. They don't really do a lot for me. Well, they probably do, but then it's not something I've got. But I know before I went to Australia, there was a lady that came over from America, and she was a crystal skull keeper, and she had it on a trolley. And I'm telling, the crystal skull was absolutely huge, and we all took it in turn to sit with this crystal. I couldn't even tell you its name now. This must have been about 20 years ago. But it was the biggest crystal skull I'd ever seen, and she took it all around the world. This skull was activating.
It's brave.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, she had a lot of hiccups along the way.
I should imagine she did. Bless her.
She's passed on now, but I have never ever seen such a huge skull in all my life. Oh my gosh. Anyway, so how did you come to be working with crystal skulls?
Yeah, so obviously in Atlantis, the crystal skulls were very much used as sort of, I want to say, generators. They held wisdom and information and knowledge, and it was held within the skulls. So that was really what I've got a couple of. I haven't got them with me at the moment. I actually put them in my handbag, so that wherever I go, I've got my crystal skulls with me. But I've got a really beautiful, just a little one, which is rose quartz, and then I've got a really very large rose quartz that's upstairs in my bedroom, and then a really lovely, I think it's either turquoise or amazonite, which is really, really beautiful. And I just basically ask for all my wisdom and knowledge codes to be held my Atlantean codes to be stored within those crystals. So obviously you can program or charge up crystal. I've got a lovely one here actually. So you can ask for, your crystals to be charged or to hold a certain program. So yeah.
So for people that don't know how to charge, just say I'm a newbie listening in. Just on the funny little clearing going on here.
Yeah, we're talking about Atlantis and the skulls.
Excuse me. And I don't know if you can hear the lambs are going up.
Are they going? Are they?
Yeah.
You have to start singing in harmony with the bar.
Yeah. But no, do you know what? It's really funny. They don't say ba, they say ma. And honestly,
I heard that then.
Yeah. So that's hang on. I'll just see if I can. No, I don't think the wind.
I don't think we can see. Oh, yeah. Just about. Oh yes, just about we can. Yeah.
Yeah, not really anyway. But they've started off. So anyway, because I got the door open, so skulls. No, programming crystals.
Yeah.
So for people that are, attracted to crystals, and which is a good start in it, you sort of look at it, or sometimes they jump out at you, and all right, okay, I need to take this one with. How would you tell somebody who doesn't know to program a crystal? What does that actually mean?
Okay, so what I would usually do is hold the crystal in front of my heart or my higher heart, and just hold it. And I would just ask for I would ask for Archangel Metatron and Archangel Michael to be present with me. And I would just ask that all previous programs within this crystal to be cleared. Okay, so anything that had been previously programmed with, just to be cleared. And you'll start to feel the energy clear in any programs or any energies that are, say you buy it from a shop and it might have just picked up the odd energetic imprint. That will all be cleared from that crystal. And then I'd simply ask Archangel Michael and Archangel Metatron to put the program within this crystal that serves my soul's highest and greatest good. And so you'll feel that going in there now, because that's actually that's just actually coming through. So all the programs and any key codes that need to be placed within that crystal, I ask for them to be placed in there now. So that is as simple as that. And you would just hold it until you feel that the programming is completely within that crystal. And then you can pop it on a crystal grid. I've got a crystal grid behind me there. I don't know if you can see that.
I can see it there.
And it is really just to hold the energy, anchor the highest energy. You can also, you can pop energetic protection within your crystals as well. So you can call in maybe Archangel Zadkiel to place his violet flame within the crystal as well. So yeah, you can ask for that as well.
So can you program them for different things, like your rose quartz, like maybe to open up your heart more, or you can do it for different things, can't you?
Yeah, whatever. Of course you can. And you would call it, so you can call in different angels for different programs as well. So you could call in Archangel Raphael for emotional and physical healing. You could call in Archangel Chamuel for more love, for your heart to expand. So you can just work with whatever energy feels right for what you want to program in your crystal. So obviously Metatron works very much in the Akashic Records as well, and it also is obviously very important for the ascension pathway. So he's sort of overseeing everything. So if you want to put your gifts, keys and codes within your crystal, and that the program for your soul's highest and greatest good is placed within the crystal, then he's a good one to go to. All right.
Light language. How did that come about, and how did you? Because I know I've done it in workshops. I just get everybody to do what I call it, jabbery talk.
Jabbery talk.
And just do anything what comes to get people to get out of their heads and go on a different frequency. So
it's all about finely tuning the antenna, so the soul star, making sure that the energy is lovely and clear. Once our energy is tuned into the higher heart and a higher frequency, we just become a clear and open channel for that divine light to flow through us. Therefore, light will come through in whatever way, in whatever form it needs to. So it might come through light language, it might come through dance, it might come through poetry, it might come through a channeled message. Light travels in many different ways. But with regards to light language, I remember probably about 6 years ago thinking, when is my light language going to come through, please? And I tried to force it. Never ever do that. Don't ever try to force it. Just allow it to come in. It will flow. And what I used to do on my phone, I've got a voice recorder. So I started to record my voice, speak in the light language. And then when I felt that I was ready and I felt confident enough, I started to share it on Facebook or, Instagram. And people started to become very receptive to it. They remembered the light language that I was channeling from ancient times. And a lot of people actually have messaged and said that the light language moves them to tears because they feel like they're home. And I just thought, oh, that's so lovely, because it activates the heart to remember those lost parts of the soul as well, and remember home, if that makes sense.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. So I don't know if it's going to come through that you'd like to do any on the show today.
If everyone's open to it, I don't want to sort of
Well, we are.
you're open to it, yeah. So I have got some coming through now, so I can speak that. Mroina shoina siana shoi narikia shoina sa wana shana siana roi sana shana kia wana kia na sha. Okay.
See, as soon as you start, I just feel it in my body straight away. But then I know I'm sensitive to, all these things, or aware, if you like, whatever.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
The idea behind it is that it raises the vibration and clears the energy. So the frequency of the light language will, some people call it speaking in tongues, because it is speaking the language of light. We can't share those crystalline vibrations just through our normal voice. Even though we're speaking keys and codes when we're speaking, the light language can just hold a different energy altogether, because it's a channel. It sort of drops in through the head and then out of the mouth. It's quite a stretch, because it sort of comes from the head, but from the higher heart as well, and it sort of I want to say amalgamates and then flows out of the mouth. Does that? Yeah. So it's very, I want to call it precision work, because it's very precise on what it's working on, and it's highly intelligent energy. So you can't always know exactly what it's doing. You might get information and guidance, for what a certain light language transmission is sharing, but it's almost like we don't need to know. All we need to do is trust.
Yeah, so, just feel it, isn't it? Really, more than anything.
Yeah.
And there's like umpteen numbers of light language, isn't there?
There's so much, and mine has changed so much over the years of sort of sharing it. So yeah, it's quite interesting when I listen back to my old voice recordings to what my light language sounds like now. It's completely different, because you might be channeling different star nations. So it might be, you might be connecting in with different galactics, or so
yeah, cool. And I know I did a workshop on the Sunshine Coast years ago, and a lady called Maraki Love, and there was, I think, about 25 of us in a circle, and she went round to each one and spoke in their light language. When she came to me, it was the dolphins. All she had was a dolphin squealing. I love the dolphins in Wales, and it was just amazing. And you could hear the difference in each language. It was just amazing. So yeah, I really love hearing people do light language, and
it's really special, because everyone's unique, aren't they? And everyone's different and holds different keys and codes, and we all sort of are here to activate and help each other remember and activate our keys, activate our gifts and our talents as well. So yeah, from ancient times, because there's so much there. We're so beautiful. The energy that, we're multi-dimensional beings with information and guidance and gifts and talents from all different timelines, all different paths, and all different galaxies as well, because most of us went off and worked in different galaxies before we even came here. So we are very, very special. And
go on.
Yeah, no, I was just going to say, I know that it's quite difficult at the moment for a lot of people on the earth, but we did choose to come here at this time, and we have to remember that we won't be given anything that we can't handle.
I was laughing with a friend about that. I was saying, just remember, we and we were just laughing, thinking, oh my god. But anyway, but yeah, so I know, like, we've all come from different planets. And when I lived in Glastonbury, Jenny that I lived with, she introduced me to everybody as Andrena from Andromeda.
I love that. Oh, that's so
only in Glastonbury, eh? So
oh, that's lovely.
Right, what else was I going to ask you? So many you do so many different things, and what you do is you blend and weave it all together. That's what I like, is
Oh, thank you.
And you give like short and sweet bursts of light language, because like some people, I don't know anybody, well, I do know people that do in and out of different light languages, but I think, like with yours, I just always feel it when it comes up on newsfeed. I thought, oh, and just sit and receive, and
Yeah,
another little activation along the way, eh?
yeah. Well, they're all transmissions, aren't they? And I'm just the channel. I'm the conduit for the energy, as we all are. And as people progress on their ascension pathway, lots of their gifts will start to show through. So it will come in the form of dance, it will come in the form of light language, and it's just it's so beautiful to watch all of us becoming everything that we ever have been, everything that we are now, and everything that we ever will be, because all of that is oscillating in our energy field all the time. Our the ancient knowledge, the ancient wisdom is there. We just have to tune into it.
So there's hope for my dancing skills yet, then?
Oh yeah. Well, I'm actually starting an online dance gathering, so
Right.
you're invited.
All right. I would love to. I would take up that offer. Thank you very much.
Yeah, and then hopefully it will be in person. So yeah,
Yes. No, that would be great. Hey, get something going together.
yeah, definitely.
See what we can create.
Yeah, definitely.
Create. Yeah. So,
yeah, definitely.
and this is the place to do it, eh?
Well, I know exactly. Yeah.
Okay, I've got a question then. So I've got male skills here. It's called listening. Because in your female locker room, you're having a chat. So anyway, listen. Now you mentioned Poseidon, obviously mythology's in Greek, one of the three brothers. And then you've mentioned Archangel Metatron, Archangel Michael. Okay, so we've got two camps of thought here. We've got gods and goddesses, and then we've got archangels. So where does that sit with you in terms of what tribe do they belong to, between the gods, goddesses, and the archangels?
I just think, do you know what? Lots of people have this question mark, okay? I just believe that it's all source energy, and we will bring through whatever needs to come through. Does that make sense? Is that the question that you... Some great awakening. I'm just reading the message there.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, so I just believe that obviously you've got the Atlantean angels, you've got the angelic kingdom of light, you've got the gods, the goddesses. It's like God's army is huge up there. So you can you can just call in whoever you want, or you can call in whoever you want to work with, or you can trust that they come through, they flow through you. So you'll always know sort of when you're receiving guidance from, because you feel their energy, it sort of almost sort of steps in behind you, and then you start to channel it, if that makes sense. Does that answer your question? I'm just worried that I haven't answered your question. That's all.
No, this lady's probably answered the question in the sense that, yeah, the human mind that needs to label and categorize everything. So,
yeah.
I mean, it depends on your myth and mythologies and type of faith. So whether you're Hindu, going for Krishna, or you're Buddha, or Yogananda, or you might drift across to Kashish, and or the guy who's chief of the Sioux tribe, in terms of Red Indians. I mean, all got different leaders and factions. I don't know what factions is not the right word. They're all different spiritual leaders, aren't they?
Yeah, all lead into the same place, though. So I see all of that. So people might put people into boxes or whatever. However, I don't want to get too deep into this because I don't want to. So people put people into different boxes, but actually, if you look at it, it's all moving into the same. It's all we're all wanting to attain and achieve love. And so, that's what I believe.
John Courtney's statement there is about the total oneness and so forth, and the human programming. I think that's a fair indication of why, depending on where you're born and your beliefs that you're being instructed in, that if you come from Catholicism or Lutheran or even Anglican, I mean, there's all this scripture about the archangels, and the cherubim and the Sephrim and the angels. So there's all this hierarchical structure. And so if you've been educated into that realm, it's something completely new to realize it's a free phone call, and you can dial up these archangels and cherubim and Sephrim, and you can get on the phone and talk to God. So it's a matter of balancing, and so I mean, it's like a coin. That's what I'm looking at. If it's a coin, and I put the coin to you, and it's heads for you and it's tails for me, and then I switch that around, and you're saying tails and I'm saying heads. So we get to understand your customs and traditions. We walk in each other's moccasins, and then we come to that understanding straight away. Then all of a sudden the coin flips, and we see that new side.
And that
goes around that says, okay, I'm fully on board. I understand. I got the wisdom. I got the knowledge. I got the understanding.
I agree with that. My biological dad was Nichiren Buddhist. So they used to chant Nam Myoho Renge Kyo, both my mum and dad. And so he was, he believed that I should be allowed to choose my own religion, whatever I wanted to become, whatever I wanted to be. That was just how that's just what he believed, even though he was Nichiren Buddhist. I know a lot of people are christened when they're born and things like that. I was never christened, and I was never forced into like a spiritual practice at all. This is really all off my own back. So I just want to make that clear to everyone as well, that I wasn't born into like a religious family or, it was just something that came around for me. And then obviously, as the more that I've read about Nichiren Buddhism and the Lotus Sutra and the laws of the universe, that's kind of fitted more into what I do. So it was like it was already woven into my energy without my dad actually having to do anything, but obviously has expanded in what I do now, if that makes sense, even though I don't follow it. So
I understand. You got the freedom to discover. You become your own navigator.
Exactly.
You become your own Christopher Columbus.
I did.
Sail to the new world.
Well, your heart is your compass, isn't it? And I think if we all come from that place, and every decision, every thought and every act that we make comes from our heart and our higher heart, you can't really go wrong.
So to dial up the Akashic Records, triple O, 111, hello. So you get operator. Hello, is this Renee-Star here? I want to get the library book on this. Can I get the library card? Obviously, you got the library card to get in.
I love the way that you're talking. I might start implementing that. Get everyone on their phone.
Well, it's a free phone call, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, you don't have to go through a middleman, do you?
No.
Go straight to the source. Boom, boom. So obviously you got to get in the library, and then you've got it all catalogued and all that stuff. So it's obviously got keywords there. So you're going to put the keywords in to access it.
Yeah.
And they get the download. So and obviously whilst we're in this realm, it's when we slip out into a higher frequency, we can actually spend, well, we could spend a week, but it's only like 5 minutes in this realm. So in that week, you could be reading all that knowledge up in the Akashic Records and then bringing it straight down. Somehow or another, you got that 5 minutes to unlock that knowledge, haven't you?
Yeah.
What's your best solution for that? How do you grasp all that within the short space of time in now this earth plane? I'm just saying so 5 minutes as a term of reference.
Yeah, so that takes practice. Lots of people, often say, how are you getting all this information? How do you know that? How, it takes time to bring yourself into a meditative state. And there is a certain way that I do access the records, which has been the most powerful for me. Once you're in the records and you finally tune that connection into your master, into your record keepers, okay? And also you might sometimes have ascended masters step forward to help. You really connect through the higher heart to receive the information. You can't really get access. You would struggle if you went in with a closed heart. You would struggle to receive the right information. It's all heart based and based in a very high frequency, because obviously when you're going into the Akashic fifth dimensional realm, you are tuning in to, that much higher vibration where everything does come from a place of love and higher perspective. So you're not getting involved in the drama or the nonsense. You're seeing everything from a much higher level. But it takes time to tune in and to be able to be receptive to receive. So I hope that makes sense to you.
So in 2011, when you had that hello,
good sound effects.
Well, we've got a walk in here, So
and knock knock.
Knock knock.
Who's there? Yeah, Renee-Star. Hey, okay, so so the walking with, okay, just bear me out here. I just might do this. Yeah, that's better. So when the walking turns up, are you saying that the original host, and that was Rennie, leading up to the having your children and disturbance in the force with the masculine separating, then instead of you committing suicide or kicking the bucket, you've agreed that another soul could come in and take over,
Yeah, because I at that point in my life, I didn't really want to be here, if I'm really honest.
Okay. So now we move to the point, so the new soul, or would I say, it could even be your old soul that's flicked out. And in that time and space, that could have been 1,000 years there where your soul has got this whole new, taken umbrage and learnt all the stuff about emotional living and humanity on this third density. After that training, straight back in. So in fact, you could be the same soul, but you've just flipped out, and within 1 nanosecond, you're back in, and it's just you, but you've had all that extra 1,000 years of training in another realm, and then drop back in.
Yeah.
I'm giving you a proposition here.
Yeah, I will say I've looked back on photos of myself before the walk-in, and it's just not the same person. I look completely different as well. My whole face, everything is just completely different. It just doesn't, it's really strange. It's like she's just not here anymore. Very, very odd feeling. I felt really sad about it, actually. I actually went through a bit of a grieving process. And lots of people look at me and they're like, oh, okay, she's completely different to who we remember her to be. You know, she's talking a different language, you know, she facially looks different. She's holding herself different. And so it's quite a strange, it's quite strange when you look back at it, you know, the difference in who I was and who I am now. It's not even on the same page. I can't really, it's a very, very weird feeling, like within me, if that makes sense. It's unique. It's a unique set of circumstances that unfolded in my life. It's a unique journey, something that I never in a million years would ever think that I would have chosen that, or that I would be here now, or even working with, you know, so many souls across the planet. I just wouldn't ever in a million years, even 2 years ago, think that that was possible. So yeah, it's incredible how we choose to ascend, and even through the bad times or the traumatic times, we're always being guided by that higher force, by our higher selves. So
I'm hearing you. Yeah, while you're talking there, I'm just getting this download of thinking, Jesus Christ, this is like a bloody Windows operating system that Bill Gates created, Windows 3.1, and you go, all this. Then you have to bloody reboot, and then you have to relaunch the bloody operating system, and then
there we go. Exactly.
Let's go for a defrag and all that. Yep.
Exactly. So it's like a motherboard. So imagine my whole motherboard was completely frazzled, completely burnt out. And then all of a sudden I had to go through this light. Right, okay, we need to realign this lady's light body. We need to like make sure that she's hooked up to a much higher vibrational frequency so that she can do the work that she's come here to do, because I have signed my soul mission contract. I've done it. It's in order now. And so now what I'm seeing is all these different changes happening again. So then it's like, once you do that, you then have to adjust again. So it's like, okay, right, I'm stepping into the higher timeline. I'm stepping into my soul mission, what I'm here to do for the planet and humanity. So and we will all be given that opportunity. We will all be given that opportunity. It's up to us whether we are ready for it or whether we want to. Some people might not want to, but I definitely do. So, yeah.
Amazing. Yeah. Right.
Hey, just hang on a sec. Three of
excuse
our.
me.
No, I just wanted to let you know that 3 of our contributors tonight have received an inquiry from a guy called Harley Menard to Kimberly, Summer, and Yvonne, and he's asked them to sent a friend request. So it'll be up to the individual ladies in question there to just see if that's going to be a valid proposition. Just sort of step in there and ask that question, you know.
Okay. Yep. Yeah.
So I've just done a search while you're talking. So the gentleman's supposed to be in Sacramento, California, as an intuitive tarot reader. So sometimes you find people will use this to, you know, spruik and promote their provisions, you know. Anyway, so sorry for that. I just wanted to make sure that those ladies are looked after, you know.
Oh, bless you. Thank you.
Duty of care. Yeah.
Of course. Because I know I've seen people message me, and I always check out their profile. And
so do I. Yeah.
So yeah,
I get an instant feedback anyway. So, so you sort of know. It's,
yeah, but I know what does amaze me sometimes when I see posts come up and it says, "Would you like a free reading?" And of course, everybody, yes. And then I think, oh yeah, let's have a look at this one, and it'd be a young black person or brown person, or that's mostly what I've seen. There's no profile, there's nothing, and I thought, yeah, they obviously check out a lot of your profile of where you've been and what you've done, so they're sort of tuning into that. And it's easy to say to some people a couple of things and they go, oh yeah, I did blah blah blah, and then they've got more of awareness of you, and then of course then they're saying, I'll give you a full reading if you like to put some, pay me, sort of thing. So
yeah, I just ignore anything. If I get I don't really need a reading anyway, but I just ignore anything that comes through that is not feeling right, 100% right, then I just ignore it. Yeah, so I advise everyone else to do that as well. And you're better, people are always better off, going through the proper process of booking in a session with someone, knowing that someone's legit, and having it done properly, because it's your soul at the end of the day, and your soul is precious, and we have to come back to that and remember that, don't we, that not everyone deserves access to our energy, or not everyone is I want to say has the right intentions for us. So it's important that we are discerning with who we connect with. Yeah,
definitely. And what about the galactics? Because I know they're coming closer and working more and more.
They are watching over everything. They are watching everything.
Yeah.
The funniest thing, and I was thinking about this morning on the way to I went and got myself some water this morning from the shop, and I was thinking about this. I was thinking, it doesn't really matter what's going on, because they're watching over everything. They've already orchestrated everything. The light was already won. We don't really need to worry, because everything, all the connections will be put in place. We will all be married up to whoever we need to be connecting with or working with, like our connection today. This was meant to happen. It's, and that was probably, our higher selves all having a little conversation with each other. Would you like to work with me? And then you've got the galactics up there. You've got the Galactic Federation of Light, who are like, right, okay, we need to connect the dots here. It's like a connecting of the dots all across the planet. So we're all working with the soul groups that we need to in order to get the work done on the planet. And it's going to happen quickly now.
Yeah, definitely.
It's going to happen quickly now. So, yeah, it's really...
Hold on to your hats if you wear one, eh?
Yeah, or your knickers.
Can't get the staff these days.
Yeah, you've got to just, I mean, there's going to be a lot happening over the next couple of years.
Yeah, and I think that's what a lot of us are being prepared for, or working towards different things that's going to happen, and to be there to help people in different ways, and the planet, of course.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, we've got a lot to look forward to.
Oh, no!
So if we just keep our minds really positive, come from your heart, focus on laying the foundations of what you want to create in your future, and you will, or just, connecting with people that will serve your highest and greatest good, and the highest and greatest good of everything and everyone around you. Like I said, you can't go wrong. If it feels right in the heart, that your heart is your compass, that is your key. If it feels right in your heart, then follow it and trust it. And that's
one other thing I was just thinking about. Your girls, are they are they got gifts or talents that
they are extremely powerful children.
Wow.
They are very, very powerful, psychic, and very, very in tune. So I think they are, I'm very blessed to have two beautiful, beautiful girls that are just really a heaven sent to me.
Yeah.
But yeah, they're very powerful, and I'm very grateful. So yeah, but they know more than me sometimes,
I bet.
They do, honestly. They're so in tune. They're so in tune. I would almost sort of say, along the lines of, being able to walk into a room and being able to read someone's energy just like that, So they are, at their ages. So yeah, they're very, very special girls.
Yeah, and I know obviously you're helping them and guiding them along the way, or perhaps they're guiding you now, eh?
They're guiding me. It's a bit of both, because our children are our teachers, aren't they? They teach us.
Yeah,
So, yeah.
Oh, that's magic. Is there anything else you'd like to share that we haven't touched? Because I know, you do so many different things. So if there's anything else you'd like to share.
So I'm holding a beautiful workshop with the lovely Jackie White and the lovely Tim Wilde on the 19th of July. And I do believe you can find tickets, you can buy tickets through Jackie White's website, which I will share with you afterwards. That is going to be working in the Akashic Records and the Halls of Amenti to activate your soul mission. So yeah, it's going to be a really powerful evening and a very beautiful gathering of beautiful souls. So yeah, if you feel called to come along to connect with us, the door is open, and we'd love to have you on board.
There is a charge for that. Is it 11 or
12 pounds and 12p? 12 pounds and 12 pence, should I say?
Yeah, you've got to stick with the magic numbers, eh? That's very important.
Yeah. So yeah.
Brilliant. Okay, right. Well, anything else, Jeffrey, before
That's all good. Well, actually, where's the Halls of Amenti?
that's what I was going to ask.
Lots of people believe that the Akashic Records and the halls are the same thing. I believe that once you've cleared enough in your Akashic Records, you then have access to that higher knowledge and that higher wisdom, which is then when you step into the Halls of Amenti and you go to connect with your soul mission, your tablet, if you like, your contract. And but you can also go into the Halls of Amenti to gather information from other galaxies. All of your learning, all of your wisdom is really also held there. So you get to tap into that. So yeah.
Okay.
Right. Well, that was lovely. Thank you for sharing all your wonderful gifts and talents. It's always lovely to hear people's journey and how they've, like you've come from trauma to look where you are now. And
I wouldn't want anyone to walk in my shoes.
No, I do the same. I think we'd also
wouldn't, honestly, yeah. So yeah, I'm grateful to be of service, and it's an honour and a pleasure to share the love, basically.
And what's your life path number, just out of interest?
Oh God, I think it's number 1. I think.
Oh right. Oh yeah, that would make sense.
I think I've had it done before, but many years ago. I think it's number 1. I do believe.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah. All right. Because I'm a 9, and 9's all about endings, completion. So it's like I'm not coming back. I'm completing everything now. So it's like boom, boom, boom.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah. Interesting. All right. Well, thank you so much for coming on the show and sharing. And obviously, people have got all your details, and there's links, so they can find you and friend you and message you.
Yeah, always. Yeah.
So, thank you so much for coming and sharing.
Yeah, thank you so much, everyone. Thank you.
Very good. What are we doing? Sorry. Where's that one? No, just there. There you go. I'll just finish that so you can look at it afterwards. Okay. All right. Thank you, folks. Until next Thursday.